Anxiety seems to be at an all-time high. So I foresee therapists, counselors, y'all are going to be in high demand if you're not already. I mean, seriously, I just went to Costco. There's no eggs, bird flu, politics, global economy. If you got kids, stick that on as well. There's just so many things inducing anxiety. So I'm shopping for a therapist, talking to friends, and BetterHelp keeps coming up. And now that I said it, my phone's going to serve me up some ads. By the way, this is not sponsored by BetterHelp at all. So I wanted to check out therapists that are on BetterHelp or a marketplace like BetterHelp. And it ended up being a really good example of why competitor analysis is needed. So a marketplace like BetterHelp aggregates all these service providers like Fiverr, right? Need a graphic designer? Go to Fiverr. BetterHelp, because it's a marketplace, you have all these therapists that people can choose from. If you are a service provider in these marketplaces, you get flooded out by all of these different profiles. So I was curious, checked out BetterHelp. I saw so many things that each of these therapists could have benefited from had they done a competitor analysis. It was really obvious that none was done. When people think competitor analysis, they just think, okay, I'm just going to dissect what's going on in terms of what their pricing is, what their marketing strategy is. Way before we get into all that nitty gritty, the very first step and the easiest step, the most overlooked step in doing a competitor analysis is actually walking through the experience as if you were in your customer's shoes. So that's what we're going to do today. You get to see from the customer's perspective, what are the obstacles? What issues do they come across in selecting a provider, especially in a marketplace when there are so many other options? If you're a therapist, you're going to see what's working, what's not, and how you can position yourself to attract your ideal client. And if you're a service provider who's thinking of being in a marketplace, I mean, honestly, Google search ends up being a marketplace. LinkedIn is a marketplace. You'll also benefit from this walkthrough as well. All right, let's dive in. Okay, yes, BetterHelp has this very in-depth questionnaire. Okay, now y'all know I'm going to be 30-something. Let's say I prefer not to say, okay, this is a lot. This is a big time investment, which of course, shopping for a therapist should be a good time investment. But even before I choose BetterHelp or want to sign up with them, I just want to see who is available. Are there even therapists available for people in Nevada? Because I'm in Las Vegas, okay? First off, a lot. Your customer's perspective. What I start with, people are anxious, overwhelmed. It's a lot to sift through. I don't know how BetterHelp picks these people, but this doesn't seem to be in any alphabetical order. So you, as a therapist, as a service provider, it's good to know where you're literally placed in this order. Because if there's a lot of people, I'm probably only going to remember like the first two people and maybe the last, if I even have the patience to get through it all. And this matters because since you have no control over where you're going to be placed, you need to make sure your profile stands out that much more. How else does BetterHelp help therapists stand out? So there are these nice little categories they can pick. Oh, bipolar disorder. Okay, 31 years of experience. If you look here, this is a very small text box. I kind of treat this like your first impression. Of course, there's the picture, but this intro here, 31 years of experience with over 25 years of extensive mental health experience. This is just redundant. I already see that you have this many years of experience. This is prime real estate. This is your first impression. Use this space to introduce an interesting story or a hook, as what a lot of us YouTubers are using now, so that people are interested in learning more. If you had 31 years of experience, what kind of transformation are you most proud about? What kind of client did you serve? And what kind of transformation did you see in them? Because that's what I want for myself, that there is hope that you can actually help me get over all my stress and anxiety. Give me a story about someone who was having trouble coping with their bipolar disorder and after working with you for how many years was able to hold down a regular job, something like that. A very simple story or anecdote. And then I also see that you hold all of these accreditations, which is impressive, right? If you plan to be a therapist to other therapists, by all means, list out all your credentials. But for normal lay people like myself, I don't know what any of this means. All I really care about is, can you help me? Everyone says I'm licensed and I'm a professional. BetterHelp already vetted you. People are going to BetterHelp because they trust. There's already that credibility factor that you are licensed, you have been vetted. So I don't necessarily care to hear it repeated again. What I'm looking for is, how can you help me? We have to see that our clients, these are people who need help. So they're thinking about their problem. Who gets what I'm going through? Well, yes, I see that you are very qualified. There's people with so many years of experience and they've worked in so many different settings. I am overwhelmed, and it is already a bit much to go through all these different profiles, especially when there's so much overlap. So many of these therapists help with stress and anxiety, and there's not much differentiating them except for maybe years of experience. But then again, was that quantity or quality years of experience? It's not clear to me, though, that these people have experience dealing with my type of stress and anxiety. Let's say life changes. Real simple example. Here in the US, we're going through leadership transition, a new president. I went to Costco, there's a shortage of eggs, and everywhere else they are way overpriced. And now I'm thinking about all the different livestock that's affected by bird flu and other economic things, and then global economy. These therapists, they have been working at least 25, 18, 9 years ago. Guess what? 2020 was a similar situation, right? A lot of these therapists were practicing during 2020, right? 2020 was 5 years ago. Yes, these people were definitely practicing then. If they even had a little story about how they were helping people cope during lockdown and isolation and able to regain a sense of normalcy through COVID and even keep their job instead of going through this depression and spiraling, helping them maintain a healthy weight and a healthy lifestyle, something like that, because those were very stressful times, and it's just the same, more of the same again for a lot of people. Okay, continuing on. I was reading through the profiles. I don't know if other people will have as much patience and will be as thorough in going through all of this text. Some people will be. But I saw this story and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I believe that you are the expert of your story and that you have many strengths that will assist you in overcoming things that challenge you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this philosophy. That is so sweet. I vibe with her. However, I kept scrolling down, and guess what? I saw it again. I believe you're the expert of your story and will overcome things that challenge you. And guess what? I saw it again. I believe that you're the expert in your story and that you have many issues. Okay, so that was 3 different therapists. Did BetterHelp prompt this? And people just put in there because it's so hard to talk about yourself. You don't know what to say, so you just take what BetterHelp prompted you. Here's the thing. Now you have how many other therapists saying the exact same thing? Now, not to sound harsh, but it looks kind of lazy that you just copy and pasted the same thing that other people are doing. You're no longer an authority because you're blending in with everyone else. It just looks like everyone's parroting each other. If I see that they are saying the same thing, this person has 18 years of experience, this person has 9 years of experience, and they kind of cover the same thing, relationship issues, stress and anxiety, most likely people are going to default to the person with more years. Oh, she's more practiced, she has more experience, I'm gonna go with her. And that's to this person's detriment. Who's to say? Even though she has less years, maybe it's a matter of quality, not quantity, but I'm not gonna know because I don't have any other information here saying about the transformation this therapist has created in their clients. I was raised in Peru. Aha, there's an attempt to relate. She was raised in Peru. But I can take that so many ways, like, oh, Latino or immigrant, etc. She's adding a little bit of personal things. Okay, here's an example. I would judge this up a little bit. So instead of saying, I'm married while in school and raised 6 children, I would say she understands what it's like to be a mom who's juggling school, work, and 6 children. She seems to have the experience, the life experiences to help mothers, overwhelmed mothers. Tell me right off the bat that you help moms or you want to help moms. So as simple as naming who you want to work with or who you've had the most success in working with. I'm not a mom, but at least it's so clear. If I met a mom or if I had a friend who's a mom looking for a therapist, I'd be like, hey, I read about this awesome lady on BetterHelp that can help you with exactly your situation. Ma'am, you just make yourself so much easier to refer. And I get it. Service providers, you all went into this, especially therapists, because you want to help everyone. But when you talk to everyone, you talk to no one. Even after a couple years of experience, you're already starting to get a sense of who you best work with and who you don't. You really want to start calling out those people that you definitely have the skill set and experience to help. Or even the vibe, the personality type that you've had a great relationship working with in the past. Because speaking for myself, I've had therapists a long time ago, and I just didn't like the relationship. We didn't vibe because I just didn't know better. That just kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth. So now I'm really skeptical. I'm really careful about shopping around for therapists. So I want to see, do you get me? Do you vibe with me? And have you helped other people who were in my situation? If you are a therapist, or actually any service provider, People are overwhelmed with the amount of information that's coming in right now. There's just so much social media, music, like people are processing so much data. You just have to make it really clear, really simple that you know exactly the solution to the person's problem. What we looked at here were therapists in a marketplace, but the same thing applies to Fiverr, any marketplace really for any service provider. Maybe I'll do Fiverr next. The most important part of doing a competitor analysis is putting yourself in your customer's shoes. Now we see what kind of obstacles people have when looking for a therapist. It's, well, overwhelm is that there are a lot of options and everyone is sounding generic. No one is telling me that they get what I'm going through or they have helped create positive transformation in clients similar to me. How do they do that? With a simple story. Like we said, how are your patients doing from 2020? What were they going through? What did they experience? And also, who is it that you want to help? I hope this was insightful, putting yourself in your customer's shoes so you can see what kind of obstacles, decision making that they have to make when they see multiple options in front of them. Whether you're a therapist on BetterHelp or a service provider in another marketplace, as you can see, blending is going to be the fastest way to get overlooked. The good news is that standing out isn't about being louder. It's about being clearer or more relatable. So go ahead, take a look at your profile, your messaging, and how you're showing up. Get super clear on your ideal client. There's this really awesome quote from my favorite book, The Alchemist. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. So call it out. Call out who your ideal client is. That way you can get super clear on the transformation or the guidance you can support them with. They just want reassurance that you get them, you have experience helping them with their problem, and that there is hope because you have done it for other people as well. Let me know what's your biggest takeaway and what other industry would you like me to do a competitor analysis on. I appreciate you for sticking out till the end, and guess what? More to come, so I hope you subscribe. All right, and I will see you in the next one.